being part of our media today. Really appreciate all the support you guys gave us, all the coverage that you guys gave us last year. We are somewhat different than we were last year. Last year we had an experienced team, 6 seniors, and I'm proud to say all 6 of them graduated. 2 of them had their master's degrees. 5 of them are playing, 4 of them are playing international ball. Jeff Peterson is working for the Atlanta Hawks, and Bernard is with Dallas. So I think that those guys have moved on with their careers. They were very good players for us. And, we complete opposite as we look to this year. We have the bulk of our team will be inexperienced players, but the good news is that we have some veterans returning that have quite a bit of experience. Carr and Shannon coming off a red shirt year, and Ian and Michael Snare. Those guys have the most experience returning, along with Terry Wisner, who didn't play very much this year. And I think most of you who've talked, who we've had conversations about our team, I've always been excited about Terry. He had a great spring, a great summer, and he's continuing to keep. He's playing well into the fall, so we expect him to make a jump as well. But we have a nucleus of those guys returning with our 2 walk-ons, and Ralphie and Joy. So we do have a core of experienced guys coming back that have been able to give our youngsters, our inexperienced players, some leadership. And if we're going to have the type of success that we think we're capable of, a lot will have to do with how fast we're able to bring our inexperienced players along. We're pleased with the skills that they have and the potential that they have as talents. But there's a learning curve there, and sometimes it's a moving target. I'm excited about the attitude, the work ethic, and their potential, but we have to bring that together and see whether or not we can find ways to accelerate the progress and see whether or not we can get these guys acclimated to the level that we need to be at as early as possible. As we look at our schedule, we open up the season with the coaches versus cancer tournament format, and so we don't have a lot of time to fine-tune ourselves. We need to be ready a lot earlier than we've been in the past. As we play in that tournament and move toward the semifinals up in New York, obviously we open up with an NCAA team in Brigham Young. And then the winner of that game will play the winner of the, I think it's St. Joe Notre Dame game. So we kind of jump right into the fire early in our season, and that kind of is probably good for us because I think it's going to cause us to accelerate our progress, be a little more focused, realizing that we have a lot at stake, and we need to try to be as prepared as we possibly can. And taking into consideration going to the big stage in the new Barclays Center in New York. And then obviously coming home and having 2 games at home against Minnesota, who played for the NIT championship last year and lost to Stanford. And the University of Florida, top 15 ranked team in the country, coming in and play us early. So it's an exciting challenge for us. I think that those caliber teams playing that we're going to be playing early will motivate us to maybe work a little harder and stay focused and hopefully accelerate our progress, and also kind of speed up that learning curve or eliminate that learning curve that so many teams go through when they have as many new players they're trying to integrate to the system as we have. In terms of our system is concerned, what we've done this summer with the NCAA allowing us to work with our guys for 2 hours during the week, what we've tried to do is work more on our system offensively and not as much on individual fundamental drills. Normally, with those periods of time, you do a lot of drilling to break things down. What we've tried to do is put somewhat of our transition game in, our half-court motion and a couple of entries, just so that our new players can be a little more familiar from the offensive end. We think defensively, you know, we'll be able to integrate them a lot faster than you normally do when you're dealing with on the offensive end. We realize that we have a considerable amount of size, and we're preparing ourselves because we think some people play us a lot of zone early, so we have put some things in a lot earlier than we normally have. So hopefully that will help us speed up the progress a little bit and be a little bit more prepared than what we normally would have been without having that period of time to work in the summer. And then we just move right into the fall with that same type of focus. And we still throwing the ball all over the place now. I'm glad we don't have very many little windows in the practice facility. But hopefully we'll start beating up all the paint off the walls here for too long. You guys got any questions?
Yeah, Leonard.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, winning the ACC tournament is not easy. How tough is it going to be to win that two years in a row, or win it again? And do your kids have they embraced everything about the ACC tournament now that they've won it, maybe a little bit more than before?
Well, what we try to do is be consistent with our approach, and I know you guys have heard me say the same thing over and over. I really believe in the one day at a time approach. I just try to get my kids to be a little better today than they were yesterday, and I always feel that's what we can control, and I think that's one reason why we've gotten better every year. You know, we try to leave all those other things out. We just know what we can control. That's making sure that we give it up today in practice, because if that happens, we'll be a little bit better the next day. And we try not to put a whole lot of emphasis on those goals down the road that we can't do a whole lot about. Now, obviously, we're defending the ACC tournament champion. That means an awful lot. We're proud of that, and I thought our guys understood the mistakes we made early in the year, and I think we're more focused, and I like the wisdom that we have gained from last year. I hear the little comments that our veterans are making with our new players, and I think they're giving them tremendous leadership as a result of that. But I think we're going to try to maintain that focus. We're going to continue to keep trying to do all the little things. I thought one of the biggest things we did last year, we played unselfish, played extremely hard, and we tried to play within ourselves. We didn't try to do a whole lot of things that we couldn't do. And if we can keep with that theme and keep working hard, I think that'll give us a chance to reach our full potential. And that's what our goals are every year. Just try to be the best we can be. And the way to do that is not get over excited about some of those things that sometimes maybe the fans might want to talk about. Let's win it again. Yeah, we want to win every game, like win every game by 50. That's not going to happen. But what we can control is our attitude, our selfish spirit, being a good teammate, and that's been working for us. And we just foolish enough to think that we can continue to keep improving, even though we lost 6 seniors. Our goal now is to be a little better than we were last year.
What you said, 7 new guys, and that might be the most you've had. What's that challenge been like for you? I mean, something different, obviously, than last year.
Well, from a coaching standpoint, we like this team. We like these players. We like the new players we have in here. But once we start putting system stuff in and needing them to be consistent with executing and making decisions, then it's obvious that we're a little far, we're ways away from being a fine-tuned machine. And, you know, the inexperience shows up when you're trying to make decisions going full speed. And that's the challenge we have, is to be patient with these guys, hold them accountable, but keep trying to integrate new things into the system that we now feel that will allow us to take advantage of the talents we have on the team. Like, for instance, you know, we put in a base of things, that ball reversals and things that we think we'll need against, regardless of who we're playing. But now we're looking at, we might need to go back to doing this because it looks like this fits our talent. For instance, we have guys, I think, that are much better off the dribble. You know, we've been somewhat, limited with our ability to create off the dribble and for our teammates. I think this team has a little more potential to do that. And so we're putting in different kinds of schemes that will allow us, to penetrate a little bit more, attack the basket a little bit more. Hopefully, we can develop a system that will allow the quality of our depth to be our strength of our team. I think that is potentially the biggest strength we have, is the quality of our depth, being able to play aggressively with tremendous amount of effort and keep guys fresh on the floor, playing with all our effort that has worked for us. And that's sometimes we've been able to neutralize teams with more talent by playing deeper into our bench and not losing a lot of quality. And I think it's like last year, I thought Terrence Kent was coming off the bench, was giving us a tremendous effort early in the year. O'Hara played starters minutes, Ian Miller played starters minutes. And I think the fact that we were able to keep them fresh on the floor, we were able to sometimes make plays during critical parts of the game because we were fairly fresh. And I hope that this team will be able to take advantage of that same types of scenarios.
Leonard, you know, people make a big deal about point guard position versus other positions for whatever reason. Is Ian, I mean, obviously he's going to be doing more of that. Is there a big difference? I mean, is there much of a difference between, I mean, a lot of your guys are interchangeable, so what's the big challenge there?
I think traditionally people like to categorize you in certain positions, but we've gotten better each year. Every year we've gotten, last 5 or 6 years we've gotten better each year, and people still question, you know, our point guard situation. But I think that's traditional, that's what people have become accustomed to. I'm very comfortable with our point guard situation. And I think that we'll continue to keep playing the way that we've played as it relates to Ian. Ian's strength is he has the ability to put the ball in the basket. He has a guy with a tremendous amount of confidence. And so it wouldn't be very wise for me to take him totally out of his comfort zone and ask him to come back and give me something, you know, that maybe might not be the very best thing that he does. For instance, Tony Douglas became a much better player when he played with Derrick Kitchen, another guy who was probably equally adept at handling the ball. And so, sure, Ian will play some point guard, and he could start at point guard. I don't know. But what we're going to do is utilize the skills and talents of our team to the best of our abilities from a coaching staff standpoint. And Ian is very good catching that ball and finishing. And he's developing, like Tony did, as a guy who can create and run a team. So we go on, he'll be doing both of those things. But we like the fact that he's a very good player, and I'm sure he'll be on the floor quite a bit. But I do like the potential of our youngsters, Devin Booker and Monte Brandon, along with Ian. It gives us a kind of a three-headed point guard situation. And hopefully we'll be able to use that to our advantage by keeping them fresh and moving them around to take advantage of maybe matchups that we play against. Monte can play all three positions. It's 6'7", play 1, 2, and 3. Devin is probably the only pure point guard we have on our team, because that's what he's played. He's done all his life, but he also is a good enough shooter that we can play him on the wing some too. And I think that's one of the strengths we're going to have is the versatility of our guys, and we'll utilize that to our strength. Maybe if I had a Chris Paul, it might be a little different, but you know, we don't have him. So we're going to play point guard by committee, and it's worked pretty well for us, and I think it'll do well for us.
On the versatility thing with the young guys, do you hone in more on one or two things? Even if they have the skills to do three positions, is it hard to process all that, or is it all related?
Actually, to be very honest with you, so that would talk technical stuff from a basketball coaching standpoint. Basically, the guy who initiates the offense, you can say he's the point guard, but once he passes the ball, you know, all our positions are interchangeable. You know, all my fours are be posting up, and all of them will be ball screening, and some will be popping, and sometimes they run to the basket, some will be posting up, some will be stepping to the short corner. And we use that system because that's the most difficult system for us to defend. And if we one of the top defensive teams in the country year in and year out, and there have been only 3 teams in the history of college basketball, only 2 teams, lead the nation in field goal percentage defense 2 years in a row, and Florida, well, 3 of them now, Florida State's one of them. Our defensive schemes are pretty effective. And so our offensive schemes are created to give our defensive schemes challenges. And so we know that ball movement and ball reversal and not being quite as predictable with a player doing the same thing over and over and over is more difficult to defend than just a guy going block to block. And so even though we work hard with our players being able to hit the mid-range jump, and we don't have a problem with that, we don't have them stepping out to the short corner. We have worked an awful lot with our big guys of trying not have to make all wedge shots. And I'm saying, you know, all be right in the lane, making point blank layups. We work real hard. We're trying to develop our youngsters with right shoulder, left shoulder moves so they can go either way. You know, I think it's easy to say. I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say Bernard went over his right shoulder all the time because he was left-handed. You know, but you know, Bernard had not played a whole lot of basketball. So what we're doing now with these guys, we're working very hard. We're trying to get them to develop, take what the defense gives you. If it's the right shoulder, if it's the left shoulder, which would give us a little bit more opportunity to be a little more effective inside. And that's kind of where our whole philosophy has been. Sometimes we'll post up some of our guards, and sometimes if it's a matchup issue, we might come off on some ball screen and try to drive on. I hope that answers the question.